Liam, I've always been fascinated with actors, their early jobs before they become actors. Now, for a time, you worked as a forklift operator.
Yeah.
And what impact did that have on your upcoming acting career?
I don't know. It was still one of the best jobs I ever had. Great feeling of power, and it was a Guinness brewery in Ireland, and with all the bottling, the making of the Guinness and bottling, and the final thing had to be this forklift to lift the crates and pack them onto lorries and stuff. So there was a great feeling of power with it, And I got very adept. I could turn it on a sixpence, and we used to have competitions about seeing who could lift an egg and stuff like that. Try and write with a pencil, during lunch hour and stuff. I wasn't that good, but it was a great job.
I'm interested in some of your supporting roles that you've done. Like Next of Kin with Patrick Swayze, you played a mountain man.
Yeah.
Was there, during that period of time, were you ever discouraged with the roles you were getting or the type of roles?
Not really, Mark, because I wanted to, I left Britain to come to America because it was the centre of the English-speaking cinema, and I wanted to, I had done 10 years of theatre and bits of television and stuff, and I just wanted to do films and learn about that media and the technique of it. So, I did everything. Some of them were good, some of them weren't so good, but it was all experience.
This film, of course, deals with World War II. You were in another film that dealt with World War II, Shining Through, and you played a German officer in that film.
Yeah.
I know a lot of your role wound up on the cutting room floor. What was the reason for that, and how did you feel about that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's that particular film was a romantic World War II story, and it was fiction. And I think in the telling of stories like that, they need a certain dynamism and rhythm, because you are telling a story, that has suspense and all the ingredients that go to make up a kind of a thriller. I guess the extra, some of the scenes we shot, that I was very sad to see them go, but I feel they probably didn't drive the story, and I understand that. That's what happens,
And one last question about the older films, Darkman, very enjoyable film, action-packed. Were you hoping that was going to become kind of a franchise with numerous sequels?
Not really hoping. I mean, I wanted to work with Sam Raimi because I think he's like a boy wonder, and I loved all those old horror films that Universal churned out in the 40s and 50s, and this was like a compilation of all those. So it was a chance to be Jekyll and Hyde. It was a chance to be kind of Frankenstein and Phantom of the Opera all rolled into one,
Now, with Schindler's List, being on location in Poland, how did the locals react to having a big budget film production in town?
Well, I think they were thrilled. I think it certainly helped the economy. And maybe, this is just me speaking, perhaps Steven Spielberg might disagree, but maybe there was something in their psyche that wanted to perhaps exorcise atrocities, maybe. They were certainly wonderful to work with. We had some fabulous Polish actors and crew members and costume helpers and stuff. They were great people to work with.
When they first began making films in color with the three-strip process, I know there's a lot of technical adjustments for the crews and the lighting people. When you went back to doing a film in black and white, did that have any effect on you, or was it a little bit disconcerting to see yourself in black and white?
No, it wasn't, because I mean, most of us grew up watching black and white films, and to me it was like making a real movie, because it wasn't black and white. There was a certain amount of research I felt I had to do, because I was wearing tuxedos and four-piece double-breasted suits, and so I went back to, you know, early black and white films. You know, watched Cary Grant and George Saunders, especially, various actors who were always meticulously dressed, and just watched how they held themselves, and how they would use a cigarette, and how they would use a wine glass, and selling their costume in a way, you know. You know, we have a 1993, you know, we're a jeans and sweatshirt type of, you know, that's our basic dress these days, and that can lead to a sloppiness in our how we present ourselves physically, and I thought it was important, certainly for me, because of the nature of the part I was playing, that I should be reminded of how to wear a suit, how to sit in a chair.
I was very impressed with the scene where you're walking through the factory surrounded by the thousands of pots. How difficult was it for the production to gather all that material?
Well, I don't know the workings of that. The factories we did use were, excuse me, I mean, this enamelware factory that we shot in was Schindler's factory. It now makes telephone parts, I think. But we did find an enamelware factory outside Krakow that had the same machinery that was used in the Second World War, so it was all there, you know.
And one very quick question. When I saw the film at a screening, a number of people walked out crying and said it was very hard for them to take. Are you a little bit worried that for some people the film might be too difficult to watch?
Yes, but I think they should persevere, and perhaps persevere isn't the right word, but I think the film is ultimately spiritually uplifting, resonates with the power of the individual and how one person can make a difference.